The year is 476 AD. Rome, the eternal city, stands at a crossroads. For centuries, the Roman Empire dominated the known world, spreading its culture, laws, and way of life across 3 continents. But now everything is about to change. This isn't just a story about the fall of an empire. It's about how one world transformed into another. Think of Rome like a mighty tree. Even when it falls, its seeds spread to create new growth. That's exactly what happened with the Roman Empire. In its later years, Rome faced mounting struggles. These challenges weren't confined to its borders, but ran deep within. The treasury was depleted, with gold and silver becoming increasingly scarce. Tax collectors found it difficult to gather funds, especially from distant provinces. Wealthy Romans often dodged taxes, leaving the burden to fall on common farmers and merchants. The army, once Rome's greatest pride, had become its weakness. Roman citizens no longer filled its ranks in numbers. Instead, Germanic soldiers took their place. These warriors were skilled, but they followed their own leaders first, Rome second. Between 235 and 284 AD alone, Rome burned through 20 different emperors, most killed by their own troops. By 400 AD, the Western emperor's power was more symbol than substance, and yet the narrative of barbarian invasions often misrepresents the reality of Rome's decline. The Germanic peoples were far from the uncivilized hordes Roman propaganda painted them to be. They were sophisticated societies with their own crafts, laws, and armies. For centuries they had been Rome's neighbors, trading, fighting alongside Romans, and even settling within Roman territories. Think of the Goths, Franks, and Vandals as admirers of Roman culture. Their leaders spoke Latin and wore Roman clothes. They didn't want to destroy Rome, they wanted to be part of it. It's like moving into a beautiful old mansion. You might change the furniture and add your own touch, but you'd still want to keep those gorgeous marble columns and painted ceilings. Then came 476 AD. A Germanic commander named Odoacer made his move. He removed the last Western Roman emperor, a teenager named Romulus Augustulus. But here's the clever part. Odoacer didn't claim to be emperor. Instead, he became king of Italy, ruling in the name of the Eastern Roman Emperor in Constantinople. Roman officials kept their jobs. Roman laws stayed in place. The main difference? The Germanic king now sat where a Roman emperor once ruled. The machine of government kept running. It just had a new operator. Things got even more interesting in 493. That's when Theodoric the Great, leader of the Ostrogoths, took control of Italy. But Theodoric was special. He'd grown up in Constantinople, the Eastern Roman capital. He understood Roman culture from the inside. Under Theodoric, Italy flourished. He fixed up old Roman buildings, supported Roman art, and kept Romans in high government positions. His daughter got a Roman education, but at the same time, his Gothic people kept their own laws and customs. Imagine 2 cultures living side by side, slowly mixing together like 2 rivers joining into one. Imagine walking through an Italian city in 500 AD. Latin still echoed in the streets, markets continued to use Roman coins, and children learned from Roman books. Yet Gothic warriors now walked alongside Roman citizens, creating a mix of the old and the new. Buildings began to reflect a fusion of styles, part Roman, part Germanic. People wore Gothic jewelry, with Roman clothes symbolizing this cultural synthesis. Trade changed too. New routes opened up to the north, connecting Italy with Germanic lands. Gothic crafts merged with Roman ones, creating new styles and technologies. Through all this, the Christian church became Rome's great preserver. Monasteries kept Roman books safe. Priests wrote and spoke in Latin. The church used Roman methods to run itself. When Charlemagne tried to rebuild an empire in the 800s, he turned to the church to learn how Rome had done it. Roman civilization didn't die, it changed form. Germanic kings wrote laws based on Roman ones. Latin slowly turned into Italian, French, and Spanish. Roman architecture influenced buildings for centuries. Even the idea of empire lived on. Germanic kings called themselves Holy Roman Emperor right up until 1806. The sea kept people connected. Ships still carried olive oil, wine, and pottery between ports. Merchants still spoke Latin or Greek. The Mediterranean remained a highway, not a barrier. These trade routes kept Roman culture alive, spreading ideas and styles around the old empire. The Germanic kingdoms joined this ancient network instead of breaking it. So when someone talks about Rome falling, remember this story. Roman civilization survived in new forms. Germanic peoples became its new guardians. They kept what worked, changed what didn't, and added their own touches. The light of Rome didn't go out, it passed to new hands, burning through the Middle Ages and beyond. That's how the Western Roman Empire became the Germanic kingdoms, not with a crash, but with a transformation that still shapes our world today.